Hey everybody, and thank you for joining me for the first ever show of Straight Up Mom Talk, where I am a mom and I'm going to be talking straight up about things that we as parents go through on a daily basis. Today we're going to be talking about parenting advice. Parenting advice is usually always well-intentioned, but it's important to remember that just because something worked for someone else's child doesn't mean it's going to work for yours. And furthermore, just because it worked for one of your children doesn't mean it's going to work for another. The advice is probably going to start right about the same time your first serious relationship does. And when you get married, it gets worse. And then when you're pregnant, it gets kind of weird. Looking back on it, the pregnancy advice I received is actually quite entertaining. I was told not to reach over my head because the umbilical cord could get wrapped around my baby and he could die. I was told not to eat soft cheese, not to eat rare meats, not to eat undercooked eggs, not to eat sushi, not to eat fish with mercury, not to eat lunch meat, keep my caffeine down to 1 cup a day of whatever my choice was. I was told, obviously, not to drink wine, or that I could drink wine, as long as it was 1 glass a day. If you don't have pets, don't get one. If you do have pets, get rid of your cat because they poop poison. And I'm not even close to comfortable with talking about the advice I received on how to induce labor. When your babies finally do get here, you'll hear, don't lay them on their backs, don't lay them on their stomachs, get bumper pads for the crib so they don't stick a limb out there and break it off. Don't get bumper pads or crib sheets because your baby could suffocate. They just need to lay there with like 1 little blanket. Now that my kids are toddlers, the issue of discipline usually comes up, and I get, don't spank them. Spank them. Put them in timeout. Don't shame them. You have to pick your battles. You can't let them walk all over you. They need to know who's in charge. I'm sure that some of you probably agree with some of this advice. Some of it probably worked for you or works for you. And I know there's probably even crazier advice out there that I haven't heard of. I decided to ask the moms I know if they were willing to share some of the advice that they've been given that they thought was strange or that they just thought wasn't the best advice that ever been given. So let's check out what they had to say.
The weirdest thing I was told while I was pregnant was do not get startled while you're pregnant, because when you get startled you tend to either like grab your chest and you're like, oh my gosh, or grab your face. That if you do that while you're pregnant, your child's going to come out with a birthmark in that area.
I was pregnant with my first boy, and they said that if I had nightmares during my pregnancy, that means my child will be aggressive. Clearly that wasn't true. He's right here and he's not aggressive at all.
And this is actually a debate still, but one of the pieces of advice I got actually in the hospital after I gave birth to my son was not to let him sleep face down.
Weirdest pregnancy advice I ever had is when I was pregnant with my first son. I was told not to raise my hands above my head because I might strangle the baby.
I was about 6 months pregnant. I was told not to bend over and pick things up off the floor.
I was told that if you breastfeed after you work out, it will give your baby a stomachache.
Girls are supposed to push themselves away from the table before they're full, and boys are supposed to eat a second helping.
You have to be a parent or a friend. You can't be both.
As older parents, we've gotten tons of advice because we didn't know what we were doing coming up. Not necessarily any bad advice, but one piece of advice we were given was, don't let your kid get too involved with technology.
The strangest advice I've ever been given as a parent was when my daughter was around 3 or 4 months old and we started putting her in her jumper. People would tell us, oh, don't let her stand too long because her legs are going to get bowed.
Okay, so the strangest advice I've ever been given as a parent is that I should get rid of my pit bulls because they will eat my children.
So basically, you're going to need to adapt T-Rex arms so you don't strangle the baby. Teach your baby to sleep standing up. Get rid of your cats because they poop poison. Get rid of your dogs because they could eat your babies. Get rid of your pets. Don't eat for 2. Don't just get the nutrition you need for 2. Don't eat fish. Don't eat raw anything. Actually, just give up all the food. Have a glass of wine. don't have a glass of wine. Boys and girls should have different rules. The boys should be able to do what they want. The girls need to have manners. Don't spank your kids, but spank your kids if they need them. You need to pick your battles, but you need to let them know who's the boss. Wait a minute. That's my point. Advice can get kind of crazy sometimes. It can get kind of weird. It doesn't work for everyone. It's not all inclusive. It's not all encompassing. Which is why I want to share with you 3 pieces of advice, or guidelines rather, that I have for all parents, whether you be new parents, seasoned parents, young parents, older parents. No matter your lifestyle or your parenting style, these 3 guidelines can help you and can benefit you and your family. Trust your instincts. Notice I say instincts and not impulses. You are the parent. You know what's best for your children. You know what's best for your family. You're gonna know what to do. Page 57 of whatever book that's telling you the do's and don'ts of this and that doesn't know what's best for your child specifically. You do. So trust yourself and trust your instincts. Take the time to have fun with your children. Doesn't matter what you ate or didn't eat when you were pregnant. Doesn't matter how you choose to discipline them. Doesn't matter if they were a front sleeper or a back sleeper. What they're gonna remember is the time and the memories you share together. Don't mold your child into what you want them to be or what you think society wants them to be. Yes, it's your job to teach them, to help them grow, to give them guidelines to succeed. But let them be themselves. Let them experience things the way they want to. Let them be the person they want to be. At the end of the day, what matters most is that you love your child and you're doing the best you can, and that you have their best interest in mind. So hang in there because you're doing a good job. Please stay tuned because next time we're going to be looking at parents having a worse day than you. We're going to be talking about a pet peeve of mine, which is mom shaming, or to make it more inclusive, judging other people's parenting styles. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please like and share and keep this going. And again, stay tuned for what I have next. Thanks guys and have a good one.